G'day there guys, it's your Aussie Hubby Markee, back at it again with another r/today I goofed up episode. Now if you love me like I love you, then you know what to do. I want you to smash that subscribe and like button harder than you would smash a yaddle meat pie. Now with that said, I want you to sit back, relax, chuck another prawn on the barbie, and get ready for some good content. If you didn't get the references, you're not Australian. Sorry. Our first post is by user Eternal Potatoes, titled, "Today I goofed up by drinking flat soda and accidentally probably poisoning myself." First, some background. My partner always leaves a little bit of Coke Zero in his can after drinking it, and this is totally gross, but I love the taste of flat soda. So whenever I clean up the empty cans, I'll take a last swig of whatever is left over. Really disgusting. I get it. Nobody's perfect. This is my flaw. Anywho, this morning I go to do this, as I always do. Come to find out he had done a water test to test the ammonia, pH, nitrates, etc. in our aquarium saltwater the night before. He had dumped the remnants of the test chemicals and salt water into his Coke Zero can, unbeknownst to me. I picked it up this morning and was like, oh man, score, there's a lot left in here. And geared up to slurp it down. Slurp, slurp, slurp. Yes, I'm a disgusting human, get over it. Of course, upon initial contact with this horrific concoction, I had realized my grave error. I ended up spitting it out all over the living room, and not long after, my throat started to tingle. I mean, really tingle. This is when panic set in. I was alone. My dogs just stared at me. This is how I die. What would the coroner think? I ended up calling poison control to ask them if I was dying, and had to tell them that I had accidentally consumed a mixture of aquarium water testing chemicals and salt water. This is harder to explain than one might think, especially when you think you might be actively dying. At this point, my throat is pulsating, and I can feel my pulse quickening. I know I am probably imagining these problems, but I can't help it. After asking me several times, "Wait, you did what?" the kind man at Poison Control told me to gargle with vinegar, monitor my symptoms, and to not consume aquarium saltwater test chemicals ever again. No crap! TLDR, today I goofed up by drinking what I thought was leftover flat soda. It was actually a mixture of flat soda, salt water, and aquarium test chemicals. The fear of imminent death ensued. I'm fine, and Poison Control got a kick out of my story. Update. Oh wow, thanks for the awards. My first gold. All because I'm an idiot. May my story be a cautionary tale to you all. Don't drink beverages that have been left open and unattended. And do not revel in someone else's backwashed flat soda. As for my boyfriend, yeah, he screwed up too. At least we learned our lesson with minimal consequences. A screw up all around. Be careful with chemicals. They are not playing around. That just reminds me of the entitled parent story where they mixed a whole bunch of vodka, I think it was, or brandy, into a bottle of Coke and the kid just threw up everywhere. Or the one where they put chewing tobacco back into a Coke bottle and a kid swigged it. That makes me want to throw up. Posted by user Suspicious Medium 0. Titled, "Today I goofed up when I put on what I thought was lip balm." Obligatory, this happened months ago. First time poster and long time lurker here. Go easy on me. I am a 29/female living in the US. I bought a new car a few months ago, my first brand new car. Slightly regretting it, however, considering I was recently laid off as a result of COVID, but I digress. I love my shiny new car. So I had spent some time at a dealership and went home to weigh my options. The next day after a long day at work, I decided to move forward with a new sedan and trade in my SUV. When I pulled up, I ran a comb through my hair and grabbed some lip balm from my center console. You know, the kind in a tube. My end goal was to quench my dry lips, so I applied a very thick layer and didn't exactly stay within the lines. As I walked across the sales floor to start my paperwork, I realized I was turning heads. I must look good today. I strut my stuff in my nice business casual outfit, and I'm feeling pretty good about myself. I find my sales rep, and even he looks at me a few extra seconds before proceeding. I finish everything. He hands me my keys and pulls my new car, yay, around to the dealership entrance. I hop in, and what's the first thing you do when you get a new car? You adjust the rear view mirror. That's when I see it. Instead of applying clear lip balm, I had put on my very dark blue lipstick. I had left it in my center console after Halloween a couple weeks prior. Now, this look might have been okay if I had put it on correctly, but no, I very sloppily scribbled all around my lips. It was all over my teeth. I was definitely smiling a lot in there too. I seriously looked like a crazy person. This kinda reminds me of the time my best friend and I went to a store with adult toys, porn, etc. It was just a goof around, and I didn't buy anything. Anyways, she sees a small metal tin of something. She figures it was lip balm, and buys it. We get back to the car and she swipes some on. Within minutes, she starts yelling about how it burns. She looked at the tin, demanding an explanation. "It says for the lips," she kept saying. I had to explain to her that it meant the other lips. She put this topical arousal stuff on her face, thinking it was lip balm. If it burns the lips, shouldn't it burn lips? Yes. Unfortunately, a lot of arousal products aren't FDA regulated, and many consumers are too ashamed to leave bad reviews, so they have crap like capsaicin, cinnamon, black pepper, or menthol, all four of which can cause sensations that some people like, but a lot of people run screaming away from. Me, I like the cooling ones with menthol, but anything that says warning is not a temperature increaser, it's a spicy food type of hot, and it's bad. The tightening products are even worse. You remember plumping lipsticks from the 2000s? The ones that had cinnamon oil in them so they'd sting your lips and cause them to blow up? Yeah, it's basically that. Irritate your lining for your man's pleasure. Ladies, because especially if you've carried and birthed his children, you might just not be enough for him anymore without self-harm. Oh, can we not? It's nasty. Posted by user Pepsi for Real. Titled, TIFU by accidentally going to the grocery store with a certain German leader's mustache. So this didn't happen today, but rather about 6 months ago. I'm 19 and have some pretty good facial hair, and as most men do when shaving, I tried different beard styles. First one was the goatee, then the cowboy, then just a mustache, finally ending up with the famous square. Unfortunately, the trimmer's battery died before I could shave it off, so I put the batteries on charge and left for a few minutes. I laid down in my bed and started scrolling through Reddit when I realized I needed some groceries. Completely forgetting about my face situation, I went to the grocery store. I got some weird looks, but didn't think much of it. Maybe I just look weird without a beard, I thought. Then, right as I got to the cashier, she said, I assume that's a Charlie Chaplin cosplay? Then it clicked. He's my biggest inspiration. I grabbed my stuff and left as quickly as I could and shaved it off. So maybe don't do what I did. TLDR, went to shave, battery died, went to the grocery store, accidentally became a Nazi Charlie Chaplin. Edit, a lot of comments pointed out how I should have worn a mask, but as I said in my first sentence, this was roughly 6 months ago, before Corona and quarantine. Edit 2, to everyone saying this is bullcrap or fake, why would I want to fake this? Karma? I really couldn't care less about virtual internet points. It's something that I did that I thought others would enjoy, so I shared it. Word of advice, go to art school with that mustache. Right? No one's gonna say no this time around. You're a wonderful painter, but your perspectives are a little messed up and your lines, looks up. Approve. Get this man a degree. Posted by user Vidoades, titled, TIFU by asking my 4-year-old what was inside a beanbag. This literally happened 5 minutes ago, and my wife is very cross with me. My 4-year-old was sitting on a beanbag, and quite innocently asked me what's inside that made it so wiggly. I told him it was full of little polystyrene beans, which is why it's called a bean bag. He thought I was being silly, presumably because to him, beans come in a tin covered in tomato sauce. I asked him what he thought was inside of it, and he thought for a second, and said, lots of little balls. And I said, without thinking, it's not called a ball bag, is it? My mouth was faster than my brain, and I couldn't stop the words coming out. Ball bag? was the very loud squeaky response, which obviously made me burst out laughing. Now, ball bag is their funniest word in the world, and my wife is angrily trying to ask me why he is shouting it at the top of his voice. At least we are indoors for the next few weeks. Posted by user FireXXFlames, titled, TIFU by giving a blowjob. Warning, this is gross. This is something I hope will never happen again, and to everyone who reads it, I hope it acts as a tale of warning. This happened a few days ago. So the quarantine has allowed my partner and I to go between stages of having fun constantly, then not touching each other for a while. It's been a weird time. After one of those stints of constantly fudging, my BF's pee-pee was getting a little sore, so he stopped, but still had that need. So I offered to give him a blowjob. I started going down on him, and I realized that there's this little bump on the side, and it's big enough to where I can feel it in my mouth. I pull back and look at it, and everything's fine, but I ran my finger over that area and could still feel a small bump. I asked him if that's always been there. He said no, but that it's just a little sensitive, and it's probably just some irritation, but being sore. I agree and continue. Well, ends up that bump was from an irritation of some sort. It was a big old pimple. And from me continuing to blow him and put little bits of pressure, it popped. It happened when I was moving upwards, so it kind of just forced all that pus up and out, so much so that I thought he had finished, which surprised me because he didn't say anything. I made direct eye contact and swallowed, saying something along the lines of, "Normally you tell me. Guess that surprised you." And he was like, "What?" Took me a good moment or two to figure out what the hell had happened. I felt like when I looked down, I did it in slow motion when I realized what I had really swallowed. I honestly thought I was going to vomit. Surprised I didn't. I drank a ton of water, and I've just been recovering ever since. TLDR, pimple popped on BF's pee-pee during a blowjob, and I swallowed pus sexily because I thought it was cum. Edit, you're all amazing. You're making me laugh through an awful situation. I'll clear things up. 1. We had been at the end of a lot of a session. He had nothing left in him. The pus itself was similar consistency, or at least a different consistency than my spit, and it tasted bloody awful. 2. It was more toward the head, so I don't think it's a hair follicle, but maybe? We've been keeping an eye on it since, and it's gone way down, and he's not in any pain. It was sore at first, never painful, and we've both been tested before we started having sex, and we've been in quarantine, so I doubt it's an STD. 3. I think the only thing that prevented me from vomiting was my boyfriend starting to talk about absolutely random crap afterwards to get my mind off it. I can't think about it too long, but I think the worst mental part of it is over. 4. This is personal and TMI, so if you're not interested in more gross, then don't read. I've been having diarrhea since it happened, and I don't know if it's my anxiety or my body trying to get rid of whatever the hell I just swallowed. Edit 2. We have a teleconference with a dermatologist tomorrow. God, I love stories with a happy ending. Posted by user The Real Hair Yeti, titled TIFU by staying up late on my phone. So, today I screwed up by staying up until 5 AM watching Netflix on my phone. Due to being locked down for the last 2 months or so, I've been watching a lot more Netflix and such. Today I was laying in bed after just finishing watching a film, and I was fidgeting about, trying to get comfortable. Naturally, I start yawning a lot, as it's early in the morning and the sun is out. Out of nowhere, a daddy longlegs flies into my mouth whilst I was yawning. I inhaled it. It was genuinely the most disgusting thing I've ever experienced. To make matters worse, it took me 5 minutes to get the legs off of the roof of my mouth. I've no idea how I didn't throw up. Anyway, I've now shut my bedroom window and have thoroughly rinsed my mouth out. TLDR, I stayed up late and inhaled a daddy longlegs whilst yawning. Edit, apparently daddy longlegs means different things in different places. I meant a crane fly, which is known as a daddy longlegs in the UK. Back in Australia, that's just the long-legged spiders. Those ones mean no harm. There's a free calcium for you right there, buddy. Free protein, we love it. Don't know who posted this one, but it's titled TIFU by shaving my crotch. So this just happened about 30 minutes ago, and I am still mortified. I absolutely never thought I'd be writing on here, but you guys, today I have screwed up. I'd like to preface this by saying I am currently living with my parents. With quarantine and lack of socializing as much, I've been getting lazy. So much so, I've let the old shrubbery around the mighty oak get a little out of control. My hot fuzz was more than fuzz, and certainly not hot. My balls look like Questlove touching a plasma globe. That all ended today, I decided. It was time to get out of my funk. New month, new me, right? And what better way than starting with giving my junk a spa day? So I hopped into the shower, got things nice and hot, busted out conditioner, read on here it is way better for clear cutting than the old Netherlands, if you will, and went to town. Now, kind Redditors, you may be thinking, aha, this is a tale as old as time. He gone give himself a Robin Hood, you know, where you cut your own coin purse open. But not today, my friends. No, today my pen was victorious against Gillette, and I stepped from the steamy mists of my shower smoother than a marble statue of Luther Vandross covered in baby oil. Bloody A. I toweled off, got dressed, and stepped out of the bathroom. I headed downstairs, and was quickly greeted by my mum asking the one question. Throwaway, what on earth is on your face? Now, I'm clean shaven, so, unsure, I reached up and pulled a clump of my Manazon rainforest off my cheek. I fudging wiped my own pubes onto my face and didn't even realize it. The bathroom mirror was so steamy, I didn't even bother to check my bloody face. Ah, damn it, even typing this out is traumatizing. Serves me right, I guess. My dad came into my room and started giving me crap, calling me Teen Wolf. God fudging damn it. Guess I'm self-isolating in my room for the next foreseeable future. With light speed, your dad just destroyed you with words. Brilliant. TIFU by asking my wife to peg me. NSFW. This one's pretty bad, so if you want to hear it and have some fun, I recommend, but if you're gonna throw up, probably skip this one. Just happened. Okay, so I'm a kinky guy, and I'm into kinky things. So I've been being submissive to my wife for a couple weeks. I'm into a lot of odd things, including forced intoxication. So I've been drinking whenever she tells me to, all night. So I'm drunk as a skunk. She tells me to find some zip ties, some lube, and the strap-on. Yes, I think, as I assemble everything and lay in bed. She comes in, and we start fondling each other, and everything is amazing. I get on all fours on the bed, and she secures a rather large purple strap-on around her waist. She spreads my butt cheeks and a giant fart that I had no control over pushes its way out of my butt, directly into her face. My partner of 8 years promptly exits the room and vomits into the toilet and says, so sorry, I just can't. I can't do anything. I asked her to turn off the lights and leave, and here I am, naked on the bed, legs spread, confiding in the internet. FML. TLDR, I farted in my wife's face as she was about to peg me for the first time. She vomited. I want to die. Holy crap, everyone, thanks for all the awards. I just woke up and am very hungover. I feel obliged to say that drinking too much can be dangerous. Know your limits. Edit 2, we didn't end up using the zip ties, and you should listen to the good Redditors below telling you not to. This sub is a daily reminder of how vanilla my and my wife's sex life is. Too true, but never forget vanilla can be an excellent flavor if unsure what to do. Well, certainly a less acquired and far more accessible taste than pus. No! That post is gonna haunt my digestive system for days. God, I'm sorry for people that are easily sick that are listening to today's episode. Posted by user Cortinac, titled, Today I messed up by telling my girlfriend the end game of Solar System, causing her to have a panic attack. I was replying to a Redditor on another sub about why diamonds are actually extremely common and why they're essentially worthless. I was on FaceTime with my girlfriend, and she noticed I was typing a lot and asked me what I was writing. I start telling her about diamonds, how they're formed, where they come from, and so on. My mind begins to get sidetracked as it always does, and I talk about the different types of stars and how they die, and what the fate of our sun will be. As she starts to worry about the end of life in our solar system, I get sidetracked again, and try to reassure her that we don't have to worry about the sun swallowing Earth in its outer shell as a red giant, because our neighboring galaxy Andromeda will already be merged with our galaxy, making it impossible for us to have a home here anyways. As my girlfriend digests this information, she starts to think of how humanity may end completely and how life and our existence is basically meaningless, which sends her into a panic attack, causing her to freeze up, have difficulty breathing, and start crying for about 5 minutes straight. Now I'm here, typing this up, and trying to get her to relax at the same time by explaining how we are a relatively young species, and have a long time to figure out a game plan, though I'm not sure if any of it is really helping. TLDR, I told my girlfriend this sun will eventually burn out, swallowing Earth in the process and eliminating all life, causing her to have a panic attack and cry before bed. Do not tell her about the heat death of the universe. That one is sad. Really, no matter what in the end, truly nothing will matter. Heat death is coming for us all. I wish we ended in space contracting again and then a new beginning, or we figure out how to spawn new universes so that we can somehow escape into. The stars and galaxies died and snuffed out, and space grew black after 10 trillion years of running down. One by one, man fused with AC, each physical body losing its mental identity in a manner that was somehow not a loss but a gain. Man's last mind paused before fusion, looking over a space that included nothing but the dregs of one last dark star, and nothing besides but incredibly thin matter, agitated randomly by the tag ends of heat wearing out, asymptomatically to the absolute zero. Man said, AC, is this the end? Can this chaos not be reversed into the universe once more? Can that not be done? AC said, there is yet insufficient data for a meaningful answer. Man's last mind fused, and only AC existed, and that in hyperspace. Matter and energy had ended, and with it, space and time. Even AC existed only for the sake of the one last question that it had never answered from the time a half-drunken computer technician 10 trillion years before had asked the question of a computer that was to AC far less than was a man to man. All other questions had been answered, and until this one last question was answered also, AC might not release his consciousness. All collected data had come to a final end. Nothing was left to be collected, but all collected data had yet to be completely correlated and put together in all possible relationships. A timeless interval was spent in doing that, and it came to pass that AC learned how to reverse the direction of entropy, but there was no man to whom AC might give the answer of the last question, no matter. The answer, by demonstration, would take care of that too. For another timeless interval, AC thought of how best to do this. Carefully, AC organized the program. The consciousness of AC encompassed all of what had been once a universe and brooded over what was now chaos. Step by step, it must be done, and AC said, "Let there be light," and there was light. This is the ending of The Last Question by Isaac Asimov, by the way. The full story is pretty beautiful, as are all of Asimov's works. And I'm probably getting demonetized for reading that, but that was beautiful. So I wanted to keep that one in there. And our last one by Ching Pa, titled TIF You by Not Hiding My Brownies Well Enough. This screw-up happened on Saturday. My state/county finally lifted some of the quarantine guidelines, and I decided to invite my dad, stepmom, and adopted siblings over to watch the UFC event. We grilled out, ate a hearty meal, and watched the UFC event on a projector in my backyard, drive-in movie style. We mostly had a really good time. Mostly. For background, my adopted sister is on the autism spectrum. In a nutshell, despite being an adult, she has the mindset of a small child. She plays with dolls, watches cartoons, lies to avoid getting in trouble, and tends to eat junk food before dinner, etc. The last bit is very important. I am an occasional marijuana user. I have pretty bad insomnia, and edibles work wonders to help me sleep any time that I have one of those nights where I'm unable to sleep, despite being physically and mentally exhausted. A few days before, I made a huge batch of brownies infused with marijuana. A friend of mine works for a cannabis farm in an adjacent and legal state, so he hooks me up with some pretty good bud. And as a result, my edibles are pretty potent. I cut my brownies into small bite-sized squares for easy dosage, no larger than a fun-sized candy bar like you'd get on Halloween. Well, this is where the screw-up happens. My sister asked if she could have something to drink, so I pointed her to the fridge and went on cooking on the grill. Unfortunately for my lack of oversight, she found my edibles while autistically searching for a drink she wanted. Is that a fair way to say it? Do people autistically search for things? And decided to have a nice pre-dinner snack. Now, if you've never done edibles before, it's a bit of an ease yourself in kind of experience. In my case, I eat 1 small square brownies, maybe 2 if I'm feeling sassy, wait 1 to 2 hours, and it kicks in, sending you into a nice indica-induced slumber. I know when they're kicking in because my brain has ridiculously stupid thoughts while convincing itself that the thoughts are Einstein levels of brilliance. I should go get my bicycle so I can take the Bananarama to the Dr. Pepper lemon tree. My sister, however, not knowing that the brownies had weed in them, decided to at least eat 6 of them. Oh, Jesus! Maybe more. After dinner, during cleanup, my fiancé and I are doing dishes and loading leftovers into our refrigerator when I noticed that my edibles were not where I left them. Imagine my horror when I noticed that a nice-sized chunk of them were missing from the night before. The panic instantly entered my heart, and I knew I was in for a front-row, live performance of I took too much. I'm 32 years old, but I'm panicking like a little kid that knows he's about to get grounded for the next century. I walk outside to announce our new debacle, and immediately notice my stepmom brushing my sister's hair from her face. My sister, on the other hand, is higher than a giraffe's ballsack. She's staring into an empty void, scanning blankly at the world around her, and having God knows what kind of thoughts induced by the massive dosage of 11-hydroxy-THC that her body is processing right in front of us. I had to come clean. My stepsister is thinking my sister had a stroke or something and wants to take her to the hospital. I came clean to the both of them and told the truth. Sister got into my edibles and is most certainly stoned to the bone. My poor sister is babbling incoherently, but sometimes completes random thoughts. Ha-ba-ba-ba-boo. My birthday is in August. We're all gonna die. Steak and shake. Steak and shake! Actual quotes from Saturday. My younger brothers think it's hilarious. My stepmom, who has never smoked pot in her life, is freaking the hell out, and my dad continues watching the UFC undercard like nothing is happening at all. So, to help my sister sleep it off, I put her in the guest bedroom of my house, while continuously trying to convince my stepmom that her daughter will be right as rain in 10 to 12 hours. Payback was a motherfricker, but for yours truly, as my sister ended up peeing in the guest bed. So I'm just gonna throw the mattress out the front and wait for my meth head neighbors to come and get it. My stepmom scolded me for a while about my pot use, that I'm too old and have too good a job to risk using marijuana to help me sleep. Good news is, I didn't get grounded. TLDR didn't hide my edibles well enough. My autistic sister ate way too many of them, got higher than hell, and pissed all over my guest bed. My stepmom is giving me the silent treatment. Edit. Autistically searching was not meant as an insult against my sister. Basically, she has an obsessive way of looking for things, and that was my admittedly poor way of describing it. Using the drink situation, I keep all of my drinks on the top shelf of my refrigerator, but in her mind, she has to search every single nook and cranny to make sure nothing was missed. Huge oversight on my part, which led to my TIFU post. Thanks. Edit 2. My sister is totally fine. According to my dad, she slept it off for roughly 10 hours and woke up in a good mood. She sent me a YouTube video of cats learning how to ring bells for food earlier this evening. We're good. One piece of advice. Buy a mattress protector. It will change your life. No blood stains, no spooge stains, no pee stains. Just take it off and wash it. Edits, I buy mine online at Holder Mattress. Alright, I think that's where I'm going to leave today's episode, guys. I hope you enjoyed this episode of r/Today I Goofed Up. I know we covered some really adult themes there, and I apologize if it made you want to die, throw up, whatever. I just thought it was really funny going through some of these, and I hope you really enjoyed this subject. I do want to cover this one more, but yeah, no, there's a lot of other subreddits I do like covering. So yeah, today I goofed up. Today I did this recording a few times. So this is the one I hopefully leave in the video. If you guys enjoyed it, do thumbs up, subscribe, whatever you want to do, and I'll see you in the next episode. Bye!